Hello, everybody. I'm John Cizik from the Connected Partnership, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about airport construction and challenges related to airport construction. First, a brief overview of the common construction challenges. Common construction challenges include aging existing infrastructure, rapidly increasing volume, diverse stakeholders, and a very common one is difficult site conditions. Many times, airports are required to be built in or around very densely populated areas where there may not be space for an airport. However, as a city grows, the demand for more air traffic and airport space becomes greater and greater. Therefore, engineers often have to find very creative ways to find places to put airports. This may even include building an artificial island nearby off the coast, or leveling a mountainous area, or putting the airport in a very tiny space. Some other challenges include complex systems integration and architectural design, and airports are often highly regulated. So, our team chose three airports to look at as case studies, but I'm here today to talk to you just about one of them. This airport is the Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport in Mumbai, India. Now, that's not the easiest thing to say, so going forward, I'll call it the Mumbai Airport. But a brief overview, this is a picture of it on the bottom right here. The airport handles 40 million passengers annually. I think it handles about a quarter of India's air traffic overall. It's about 4.5 million square feet, and it's got a giant, awesome roof, which I'll talk about more later. And that roof required mega columns. I'll talk a little bit about those too. And it has one of the largest curtain walls ever built. So the Mumbai airport had one really big challenge, and that is that Mumbai is one of the most densely populated cities in the world, and its airport was insufficient for how much the city was growing. However, since the city is so dense, there's very few to no places to put a new airport and still have it most of the city be able to have access to it. There was one spot available, and that was directly next to the existing insufficient airport, but the space was only 1,200 acres. Now, many airports in Asia or Southeast Asia of comparable air traffic size are generally somewhere between 5,000 to 30,000 acres. So as you can imagine, this space is quite small. Throw into that since it's right next to the existing airport, and as Mumbai is such a growing city, it can't interrupt operations at the existing airport, which means no tower cranes were permitted, which led to many other challenges. One additional challenge is that the average daily temperature is 95 degrees, and I can't imagine working in that every day. So, a little bit more about the roof. It's 17 acres, one of the largest roofs in the world, covered in a skin like thermal membrane that totals about 10 city blocks. And it's supported by not just columns, mega columns, 135 feet tall, and each took 3.5 months to build in isolation. As you can see, the finished product down below, though, the bottom left, I think is a pretty cool picture and a good representation of what the design led to for this airport. So, how do you build a big roof and minimize the number of columns? Well, the engineers came up with the idea for steel pods, they called, and the steel pods are placed on the top of each column. The pods help direct the horizontal forces downward, and they limit the total number of columns. I think the pods for this design cut the number of required columns in half. And each pod is over 4,000 steel members and over 270 tons. So how do you put these pods on top of 135-foot columns without a tower crane? Well, for this project, they came up with the idea for a temporary highway truss system, and it's one of the most complex temporary steel structures ever built. Individual steel members were lifted into place and bolted together and interconnect every single column for this airport. So think of it as basically a web connecting each of the different columns. Now, small sections of the pod were lifted 135 foot onto one of the columns, which was sort of a staging area. It was connected up in the air and then pulled hydraulically along the highway truss until it was in place on top of the column. It allowed work to continue below unimpeded, and it is quite an engineering and construction management feat. Lastly, I want to quickly talk about the 1 million square foot glass curtain wall, which is one of the largest ever built. because they had to install 125 panels a day using only a mobile crane the size of a semi-truck. And they had some schedule snafus where they had to hurry up and get it in before monsoon season, because monsoon season averages 1 inch of rain per day. But as you can see the pictures down below, they were able to get it done. This is just one example of the Mumbai airport of some of the challenges faced by airports.